Tomorrow night, for the first time in 40 years, led by Dr. J, the Iceman, Charlie Scott, their coaches, teammates, and owners, the Virginia Squires will gather in Virginia Beach for their first ever reunion. Tonight, in the second part of his series, Remembering the Squires, Brian Parsons tells us about the team's final years.
By 1974, future Hall of Famers Julius Erving and George Gervin had been sold to other teams, and the ABA had taken over ownership of the Squires from Earl Foreman. That's when a group of local businessmen came in to buy the team, and they brought in Jack Ankerson from the San Antonio Spurs to be the general manager.
They were interested in just keeping the team here, wanted nothing to do with running the basketball team. We're going to be season ticket holders, if you will, and we're looking for someone to run the franchise. And it made a lot of sense. I had a lot of appeal.
With money flow still a problem, Jack Ankerson revisited the idea of the Squires playing their home games in multiple cities.
We did nothing in Richmond whatsoever. And the idea was that the new ownership wanted us to try to convince some folks in Richmond to become involved, from a financial standpoint in the Squires. That proved futile. But we still, nonetheless, drew well at Scope. We averaged over 5,000 people a game at Scope. We didn't do anything at all in Hampton. I had 3 full-time people trying to promote the Squires in Hampton. It was almost a 50-50 split of games, and it proved to be economically and financially a real downfall for the Squire organization having to play those games in Hampton. Had there been a 1976, 75, or 76, 77 season, all games would have been at Scope.
After 4 straight trips to the playoffs, the Squires won 15 games in 1975 and missed out on the postseason for the first time.
The last 2 years, we were not very good here. I can't remember how many games we won, but we were not a very good team the last couple years. Prior to that, though, we were a good team.
You know, there were some people that said, well, it's in Tidewater. They don't really know. You could probably put anything out on the floor, and they're going to accept it. But no, it wasn't the case. The people here were pretty knowledgeable.
1976 was the final season for the Virginia Squires. Like the season before, they won 15 games. Al Bianchi, the only coach the Squires ever had, was fired. After Bianchi's dismissal, the Squires went through 5 different coaches, including general manager Jack Ankerson, who filled in for 2 games.
My first game up in Indianapolis, we lost to the Pacers. And then the second game was at Scope, and we beat the Spirits of St. Louis. So I ended up with a 1-1 coaching record. And, of course, that puts me with the highest winning percentage of any Squires coach.
4 teams from the ABA were taken in by the NBA. The Squires folded and were never considered.
Money was an issue those last 2 years. There's no mistake that we were constantly fighting a money battle, trying to make payrolls every 2 weeks. We were never going to be considered for the NBA. That I knew right from the commissioner, Dave DeBusschere, the late Dave DeBusschere. But I knew that as things progressed and it became readily apparent that there were going to be 4 teams going into the NBA, Virginia was not going to be one of those teams, no question.
1976, the last year that Hampton Roads had Major League sports. Reporting for the Sportswrap, I'm Brian Parsons.
All right, great job, Brian. The Squires reunion kicks off with a big party tomorrow night at the Cavalier on the Beach at 42nd Street on the ocean front. If tickets are still available, that is the only place you can buy them tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow night from the party on WAVY News 10 at 6, and we'll have complete coverage of the event tomorrow night right here on the Sports Wrap.